Hello everyone, my name is Ph.D, the methodology expert. So today I'm going to share with you 8 things that you have to think about when doing research. So let's start. So tip 1, review what has been done. So imagine you have your topic that you want to research on. Before you do your research, you first have to find out what has been done because you don't want to do your research in isolation. You always want to contribute to the field. Before you contribute to a particular field or a discipline, you also always have to think about, okay, or look into articles and books and other resources to find out what has been done. And then based on what you found, you'll be able to identify a gap, and then you can be able to contribute to the knowledge in your area that you are focusing on. Tip 2, explain what you have found in the literature. So it's always important for you to explain what you have found in the literature to communicate the information well to your audience. But before you can explain, you have to really critically review the literature, try to understand what has been done, and then you'll be able to communicate that information well to your audience in a way of supporting why you are focusing on a specific area. So the third tip that you have to think about is to seek for gap in the literature. So as you are reviewing literature, you are looking into possible gaps so that you can contribute to filling that gap, right? So there are many ways of identifying a gap. You can look into the methodology and see whether there's any flaw in the existing methodology. Then you can also do research to correct that flaw. Let's say there's an area that has not been researched much. You can do research to add more information to that kind of area. There might be an inconsistency in explanation of an issue. You can do research to add more knowledge or to correct that kind of inconsistencies, right? The fourth tip is to express the significance of your study. People are going to ask you, why your study, right? You have to be able to give the importance of your study. Why do you think it's important for you to do this research, right? What kind of contribution is your research going to make? What kind of knowledge is your research going to contribute? What kind of problem is your research going to solve, right? Tip 5, approach the inquiry process with diligence. So this is where you have to be, you have to think through the process, making sure that there's a consistency between the research questions, the methodology, and also the purpose of your study, and also the data collection strategy that you want to use. You also have to think about the way you're going to analyze your data. Make sure that everything is laid down, very systematic, and carefully planned so that at the end of the day, you'll be able to communicate your findings in a very good manner. Tip 6, rely on evidence or data when drawing conclusion. So I think this part is very important. When it happens when you are focusing on interpreting the findings and making kind of conclusion. So it's always important for you to make a very good conclusion by connecting them to the evidence, the thing that you saw in the data, or connecting them to the findings. You don't want to make conclusion without having any backing, right? So it's very important as a researcher, think about making a good case. How do you make a case? You have to make sure that all the claims that you are making are connected to the findings. So just think about it this way. You collected your data, you analyze, and now you have the findings. So when you have the finding, you have to communicate the findings. So after communicating, you have to maybe make sense or interpret the findings. As you are making sense and interpret the findings, making conclusion, it's always important for you to always connect the conclusion back to the findings that you have, right? So that the conclusion will be very convincing. Tip 7, comply with research ethics. This part is so important because you don't want to do research to put participant at risk. You don't want to do research to adversely affect the livelihood of participants. You want to do research to improve life. So you also have to make sure that all the ethical, all the actions and decisions that you are making are in line with research ethics, right? In terms of protecting participants, in terms of protecting their identity, and in terms of protecting the data that you have collected from them. You always don't want to take advantage of participants. They have volunteered to give you rich information to help you to address your research question. So you have to make sure that you take all actions to protect them and to protect the information that they are presenting to you. So you always have to, think about ethics when you are collecting data, analyzing, and then presenting your findings. The last one is to have your ultimate goal in mind when conducting your research. So always have to ask yourself, why am I conducting research? And what do I want to achieve? Any action that you are taking the research has to have some direct or indirect connection with the goal, ultimate goal. Is your goal to improve the lives of participants? Is your goal to contribute to the knowledge of the field? Is your goal to improve a specific program? Is your goal to develop doing research to develop a program? Is your goal to address a specific problem that you have identified in your profession? Always think about all these, your goal as you are going through the process so that it will keep you on track, right? To make sure that you are doing the right thing. These are the tips that I have for you. So as I said, the first one is to review what has been done. The second tip is to explain what you have found in the literature. The third one is tick for gaps in the literature. The fourth one is to express the significance of your study. The fifth one is to approach the inquiry process with diligence. The sixth one is to rely on evidence or data when you are drawing conclusions. The seventh one is to comply with ethics. And the eighth one is to have your ultimate goal in mind when you are conducting your study. So these are the 8 things that you have to think about when you're doing research. And if you want to also gain more information about, the best practices of doing research or any kind of information related to the research, please subscribe to my channel. You'll be able to learn a lot. And I try as much as possible to simplify the research process to make things so easy for you. So when you follow me on LinkedIn too, I can also provide you a lot of information. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and thank you. My name is Ph.D. and thanks for watching.